Howdy ho, neighborinos. We are here today with a different video and probably something that you will never see again because it's some weird shit. Uh, we have a draft league lore video, which so the term that you see in the title, John slash Johnning, Johners, filthy Johners, dude. You know what it is, but do you know where it came from? Because I sure fucking didn't. Okay, so I remember entering the Pokemon community, and if you delay, okay, so in the Draft League community, if you schedule a time to play a game with a person, which usually is a fucking pain in the ass because time zones and whatnot, right? So you schedule a game, and then when it's time to play that game, if you're not around, or if you have some reason that you can't play, or if you're unable to play the battle, people will be like, fucking Johnner, filthy John, he's Johnning, he's a John, get him, he's Johnning. But where did that come from, So, listen, I did a little research, okay, and I know what you're thinking, dude. I know who the fuck is this guy claiming to be doing research. This guy can't even articulate a fucking sentence 90% of the time. How do we know that he's trustworthy? Well, guess what, bitch? I remember in high school, you would cite your sources. I got sources, bro. I got sources. They have been cited. You can click on them. You can read for yourself. You can watch the video. There's granted, okay, then listen. I gotta tell you, one of them is a wiki, which I know, but listen, I know, but I think this one's trustworthy. Okay, I verified with people. I asked some of the people that I know have been in this community the longest. I also took to Reddit and asked, dude, I promise you, I did my best to make sure that this information is as accurate as possible. Okay, so with all that said, and all jokes aside, granted, they're still good. Man, you know whose video this is. There's gonna be a joke or two, but yeah, man, this is where it came from. John, Johnning, Johnner, the whole dang thing. And I really was trying to figure out what was the most used version of the word to put in the thumbnail, and I don't know. I might have just gone with all three. Who knows? So the original term started in the Smash community. Wouldn't you know it? Not even in the Pokemon community. I don't play Smash, so I would have never known, but this term originated in the Smash community. But it started as the phrase, no Johns, because there was a guy, and you're not gonna believe it, his name was John, and he was a real, what I'm getting from the internet is, he was just a real piece of shit, Apparently, you play this man John, and he would lose, because, as you do in games, and it just seems like every time he would lose, he would, it was the lag, or he was tired that day, or his controller was fucking up or something, so eventually he just got to be known as the dude making excuses, so therefore, the rest of the community was like, don't be a John, And then that kind of turned into the phrase, no Johns, which essentially means no bullshit, no excuses, none of that, So no Johns. So this poor dude, and I think I mentioned it, but he's actually from Texas, which is funny because as the reporter in this situation, I'm also in Texas, so I kind of want to find him and interview him, But you know what? I bet I would schedule a time for the interview, and all of a sudden he wouldn't be there, But yeah, so no Johns, dude. And it gets a little interesting here because this is a dude from Texas in the American Smash scene, right? But it turns out there's also a Swedish version of said term. And let me pull up my notes here. And I'm gonna butcher this, and I'm sorry. And there's gonna be a lot of words that I butcher from here on out. And I'm gonna pre-apologize right now. I'm sorry if I'm gonna fuck all these words up. But listen, I only know Pokemans, okay? So fucking forgive me. So, the Swedish term, Inga Eunice, I believe is how you say it, essentially means no Johns. It came from the exact same situation. They had a guy that just was a fucking Swedish piece of shit, and that's just, it meant no Johns. So, that's crazy, right? if it's gonna happen once, it's gonna happen again, you know? So, the Crystal City crew from South Division, Johnning came from them, I think. From what I understand, that was the the people who originated the term. I guess they knew John himself. So Johnning, you know, that's where it became Johnning. So there's also a German word which means that basically means the same thing. It's nostakos. So I know I said that like Spanish, but it's German, so it'd be like nostakos, I think, or something like that. I don't know, but that basically means no Johns. And I guess they had a man named Stakos that was a John and a piece of shit, and it'd be like that, you know. And in Spain they have the exact same thing. It's Noverons, I think. And it's the same thing, dude. No Johns, but Spain. Isn't it a quinky dink how just so many different regions have one piece of shit person that gets a whole term named after them? Who'd have thunk it, you know? Now, so that's Spain, and there's also a Mexico version, and it was no Miltons, or I think is how they say it. So, Milton, I guess, was just a real sack of shit. So, same thing, man. John, Milton, Verons, Stakos, it's all the same thing. So if you ever hear any of those terms being thrown around in like a different language that you don't understand, at least you'll get that part now, right? So, I have another note here written down that I cannot read because I'm a piece of shit. So we'll just go on to the next and final thing. Now, no Johns, being a John, and Johnning have all become terms at this point. So, Reggie, whose last name is hard for me to pronounce, but you see it on screen, in 2014 at the Smash Evo, the man himself says no Johns please, which is just, man, for the fucking community to come up with a term, and it's a funny thing, I think, you know, it's like, basically degrading someone so hard that you try to like make everyone else not be that much of a piece of shit as that guy, you know, does that make sense? I know the sentence structure there was all cattywampus and all over the place, but you know what I mean, right? So, for Reggie, which again, whose last name is very hard for me to say because I've never heard it said out loud, I don't think, so, this man straight up says, no Johns please. And like, for it to just come full circle like that, and for such a high-ranking Nintendo employee to like have grasped the concept of what it is, that's fucking hilarious. So, fast forward to today. Like I said, I don't play Smash. I'm assuming that's probably definitely still a thing that happens in Smash. But in the Pokemon, especially the Draft League community, Johnning is such a huge term. Like, if you, it's mainly a joke, I think, but straight up, if someone cancels a battle and then you have to tell, you know, the commissioner of your league, like, I was supposed to battle, like, you know, because you'll get a ping, and you have to straight up tell them, like, hey, man, I was like, I'll send you the screenshot. I was supposed to battle this guy, and he straight up Johned out of it, and like, it's just understood that exactly what that means is like, oh, so he's being a John, he didn't show up, and like, I think in the Pokemon community, it means more of like not showing up, you know, and not really being there, less than it means like having an excuse for losing, which is crazy how cultures collide, you know. You play in Super Smash Bros, and even though there's still Pikachu and Greninja and whatnot in there, it means a completely different thing than it does in competitive Pokemon, which is just, you know, it's just wacky to hear, you know. So I have no more information to give you. I have no more jokes to make, and I'm running out of silly ways to phrase these sentences that might get a little giggle out of you. So, with that being said, like, subscribe, do all that bullshit. If there is another thing in the community that you'd like me to fucking sleuth around and figure out, let me know. I couldn't think of anything. There was one other thing that it just wasn't, you know, didn't work out very well. So, like, subscribe, do all that bullshit. If you know this information already and I said it wrong, then let me know. And if not, then praise me for being awesome and figuring this out for you. Alright? Okay. Like, subscribe, do all that bullshit. Bye forever.